What was the first year? What was the year that the Bush Club started? Guess we'll start.
1985.
Yes. Do you remember whose idea it was?
Yes, because it was mine.
Oh, well, there you go. And why? Why did you think of it? Were you working in that field?
Yes, I was. I was the health visitor here.
Right.
And I worked with Dr. Perry.
Yes.
And there was a social worker, a very nice young man, called Nick Harding-Smith, who, and we were talking one day, there were day centres in Witney, yeah, and there were day centres in Carterton. Yeah. Age Concern had just set one up in Carterton. Yeah. And we discussed that there was a need for day centres, and it was suggested that we transported people to one of these centres, and you know, it became very difficult trying to organise transport. So I said I thought the answer would be to try and see if we could establish one in Bampton.
Yes. The difficulty was finding people to take with a car, free space, to take them over to Carlton. Was that the difficulty? Just getting a rota going?
Well, it would have been, yes. But having decided that there was a need for a day centre, yes, we rather dismissed the idea of transport and said, can we do it here?
Yes.
So what happened was that the three of us discussed this, and yes, we decided that we'd have a public meeting to really see if the village felt they wanted it, if there was interest, yes, and if there was people who would volunteer to help, because it was all going to be voluntarily run.
Yeah.
So we did. We had a meeting on June the 11th in 1985.
How many people came?
Absolutely packed. As you know what it's like in Bampton. If you have a meeting, the hall just gets filled. Yes, and we had overwhelming support. Yes. The meeting was chaired by Dor Thompson.
Oh yes.
And I did a little spiel about the fact that, you know, there were more and more elderly expected to be in the village, and that if we could keep the elderly stimulated by giving them, you know, somewhere to go where they could interact with other people, yes, it would help. Yes. And after that meeting, it was really then a question of a few more get-togethers to find people who would be willing to do it.
Yes. Now what impresses me when I go over there is the absolute smooth running of it.
Yes.
People arrive at 8 o'clock and they set up the tables, they
yes,
set up the chairs, the heating's on, and then the drivers arrive with the elderly people. Then there are cooks and cooks' mm-hmm, helpers, there mm-hmm, are washer-uppers and washer-uppers helpers. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many in a team, say, each day you do the Bush Club lunch, how many people are involved, do you know?
Well, there'll be, in setting it up, you've got the two coordinators who take it in turns to be responsible for that day. They will have a team of helpers, perhaps 4 or 5, or possibly less some days. In the kitchen you'll have a cook, who and the cook will usually have 2 helpers who wash vegetables and generally help serve it. And in the dining room, of course, the same people who have helped in the morning with setting it all up will be there and serving it to the people. You have washers up, of which I am one. Mm-hmm. I'm the Honourable Secretary, and I'm also a washer-up.
Yes, yes.
And the washer-up happens fortnightly.
It is a fantastic team.
It is.
It seems to work with great calm, a lot of organisation, but very good-naturedly.
Yes.
Isn't it? There's a lot of humour there.
Yes.
And no bickering. It's lovely.
Yes. Well, it's been going 23 years now.
Yes. And were there problems at the beginning? Do you remember?
Well, yes. I mean, for a start, we couldn't get people to volunteer to be the coordinator. They'd say, well, I'll help, but I don't want to run it. Mm-hmm. And in the end, Lynn Schuker was the first one, and she did it for about a year, but she's a busy lady. I mean, they had the Eagle then. And so after a year, Irene Sharp, you might remember Irene Sharp and Terry Argos,
yes, I remember,
took it over. And in those days there were 24 people. They started with 24. Now we're up to maximum of 40.
Yeah.
And it's all run now in a much more, you know, well organised way, really.
Yes.
I think we're very lucky with Fenella Gray and Veronica Baker, the
Yeah.
two coordinators now. They've really got it sorted.
Yeah.
And everybody knows what they do. They come in, they do it, and it's a very, very nice place to go.
Yeah, very smooth running. Because you also do, I mean, there's a sort of rota of entertainment, isn't there?
Yes, yes. Tom Howard is our entertainment gentleman, and yes, speaking just a moment about finances, the first big amount of money we were given, because at the beginning there was no money, and there was various fundraising events, but the Derby and Joan Club closed, and they gave us £1,000, and it was to be spent specifically on the entertainment of members. So we've always remembered that, and they have a very varied programme. They go to the theatre once or twice a year. Excuse me. They have talks from various people. They have bingo. They have mystery drives, you know, where they go out in coach trips. They have a varied programme.
I know there's a tea at the Manor, at Weald Manor.
Yes, Weald Manor.
And isn't there
That's
also
a yearly
something
thing.
at Bablock High?
And
do you go and have...
that's the Ferryman. They
the
have been
Ferryman.
there a couple of times. They go
Yeah.
for lunch.
Yeah.
But they also go to Horace Holyfield's. Now he lives out, can't remember where,
Yeah.
and they go there and they have lunch or tea. Sometimes it's afternoon tea, sometimes it's lunch, and he has an organ which he plays for them, and they all sing, and it's all great fun.
Fantastic.
Weald Manor is usually in the summer, so they go round the gardens and enjoy that.
Yeah, lovely.
And a lovely tea is provided.
You just mentioned finance. You got £1,000 at the beginning, which was earmarked for entertainment.
Yes.
But there are, well, they're not quite state of the art, but they're fairly big cookers there. Were they there already when you arrived?
No,
You had
no,
to finance that?
Through the years, we've accumulated a good set of kitchen equipment. There was nothing really there when we first started. Funnily enough, I don't know if people will remember, but when we started, the actual dining room we used was in the other Horsa building, the one that is the old one that's
Slightly
derelict now.
Yeah.
We used to go across there for the dining room, but then we got all the chairs. You see, they've been a big expense really.
Yeah.
Because
How
we
did
now
you raise money? Just fundraising events, or is it the bits and pieces that the old people pay?
They pay £2,
Yes.
and for that they get morning coffee, they get lunch, a 2-course hot lunch, and afternoon cup of tea, and we also fundraise once a year with a coffee morning, which brings in about £500–600. It's
Yeah.
amazing really how much. We get a grant from Oxfordshire County Council for running the building and the bus centre.
Yeah.
And you get people like the Bampton Welfare Trust who help us. We've had grants from the Spotlight Club, the RAF Club. You know, they are extremely good.
Yeah.
So. Yes, it all comes together really, and
it's safe for the future?
Well, we do have this nest egg, which may well be needed in the near future, because of course, as probably the village knows, the bush centre buildings are up for redevelopment, and we're going to have to move. We are hoping. Well, we're hoping that it will be in the youth centre building, and that building will have to be altered to, sort of accommodate us. And no, nothing is written in stone. We don't know.
Yes. No, it's a very interesting story. It's a very successful story, isn't it? Really.
Very successful.
Yeah.
It's very successful. We've, through the years, we've had countless people come through the books, you know, and when you go in, the level of noise is always quite high.
Yes.
Because everybody is chatting.
Yes, absolutely.
And you know, it's a great success.
Yeah.
We have all stratas in the village.
Don't we just in there?
You know, I mean, from the top to the bottom.
Yes.
And we do get quite a cross section.
It is the Colonel's Lady and Rosie O'Grady, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
But that is marvellous because that represents Bampton.
That's right.
And isn't that fantastic? And
Absolutely.
the two bits do mesh, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a very nice aspect of it, actually. There's always a little bit of sort of red tape around these things. Now, has the Bush Club come up against red tape as well?
Yes, we have. We've made ourselves a charity.
When was that? You're going to forget. You've got to put your bit of paper to find that.
I can't remember. Right, I'm writing to confirm that the charity named above has been entered in the Central Register of Charities with the effect of the date of this letter, 18th of May 2005.
Okay. What was it before that? Just a group of people getting on with the job?
Yes, yes, it still is a lot of people getting on with the job.
I know, but it has charitable status. But why did you decide on the charitable status?
Well, you can get, what do you call it, tax incentives if you're a charity. You don't pay VAT on things.
Yes, okay.
Actually, the list of things you don't pay VAT on is quite small. And hasn't been an awful lot of help.
Yes.
But we did register ourselves as a charity, and of course we do have charitable
status.
Yes, we you know, we qualify quite easily as a charity.
Yes.
The other thing we had to do, we became a limited company, a charitable company limited by guarantee. We became a charity, yes, in 05. But we decided that as the legal position was that as trustees of the Bush Centre,
yes,
and the trustees were Rosemary Colville, chairman, Peter House at the time, who was treasurer, and myself as secretary, we were could be made liable if anybody sued us. So the way around it was to make ourselves a charitable company, limited by guarantee, and take out trustee liability for that. So we've done that. So now we are a charity, and we are also registered at Companies House.
Yes.
So we have had to.
And nobody has sued you.
Sorry?
And nobody has sued you.
Nobody has sued us, no.
No,
But at least my house is safe now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Do you have to have a criminal check to work at the Bush Club?
Yes, if you're working with the elderly, you have to have this criminal form, CRB form it's called.
So even you as a washer-upper once a fortnight have to have your criminal past investigated?
I do indeed.
Yes,
yes,
wonderful.
Yes, yes, everybody has to have it done.
Yes.
And although it normally costs £30 to have this done,
yes,
as a charity we were exempt from that, so it didn't actually cost us money. But and they're very securely kept, those forms, I have to say.
Yeah.
And of course we do have we're visited regularly by social services,
yes,
to confirm that all these things are happening, and they help us have to go on courses, you know, handling and lifting and hygiene in the kitchen, all these courses they have to go on.
Do you think, going back to, was it 1985?
85.
If you had the same regulations and rules then, that you would have contemplated doing it?
I think that's a good question. I'm not
Yes.
sure that we would. You know, it
Yes.
was run really, nobody on that first, you know, sort of group of people had any idea how to run a day centre.
Just saw a job that needed doing and you did it.
That's right, that's right.
Out of the energy that you had, concern for the community.
Yes, Yes.
And the
Well, and of course the other thing I should mention is that we are the only day centre in Oxfordshire that is purely voluntarily run. There are no people paid other than the caretaker of the building.
yes, that is
Nobody
a
gets any
fantastic.
money.
Are there worries about the future of the Bush Club? It's such a wonderful institution for the village, but the future?
Yes, there are worries. Yes, there are worries. Where are we going to be? They are knocking down a building which suits us absolutely perfectly. It has everything we want in it. It's been going for 50 odd years, but you know they want the ground. It's as simple as that. They want the ground for development.
Yeah.
I mean, people have suggested the pavilion. The pavilion is out with the village, and I think that's a big criteria against it from the point of view that at the moment members go to the shops when they're in the village. They get quite a lot of shopping done for them by other members and they take it back. They go to the library, they go to the church for the Wednesday service. And the fact that it's in the centre of the village means the walking people who can go can get there okay. The village hall is no good because it's too small and there's only one room.
Yes.
And parking is not very useful. We have good parking facilities, you see, which we will lose. So if we are not offered a viable building, I don't know how the Bush Centre can continue.